Hi folks, Jonny here. Hope you're okay. Welcome back. If you're catching up later with this on YouTube, we're streaming live in the Trouble Kids group on Facebook. So you're welcome to join us. We're on every Wednesday at 12 noon at the moment, during lockdown at least, and we will see how things go as to whether we keep doing that or not. Those of you new to this, my name is Jonny Matthew. I'm a social worker and a criminologist, and but I'm really here to kind of help, really, and that's kind of me answering questions, but it's also kind of trying to marshal what good stuff is out there as well. There's more than 1,200 people in the Trouble Kids group now with loads of talent there, so I'm keen to kind of shepherd that into a place where people can access it and so on. So yeah, welcome. That's what we're here for. There's tons of expertise in this group, as always. That's kind of totally off the charts, and looking at the group posts this week, that's become really apparent yet again, which is brilliant. So welcome. Just to say also to the guys who are in the group and anybody who's watching this on YouTube, when you click through to join the Trouble Kids group, you will get a set of questions to answer. I think it's kind of, what is your interest in Trouble Kids? So you just say, you know, I'm a parent, I'm a foster carer, whatever, a social worker, whatever it might be. And then it asks you to accept the rules of the group, essentially, which are just the basic kind of online rules that tend to apply everywhere. But just to say, I've had quite a few people this week coming in not answering any of the questions at all. It's really important. So if you're inviting people to the group, please make sure you say to them, answer the questions, because I'm really, as from today, I've decided I'm not going to click people through unless they answer the questions. It's just a way of us, as we get bigger, making sure that the folk who come in have got an interest and have signed up to the kind of etiquette of the group and stuff. So there we go. Fab. So I will say hello to folk in a minute. Meantime, I think it's time for a theme tune. Oh, my clap got cut off. Don't know what happened there. I must have pushed the button too soon. Anyway, there we are. Good stuff. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to have you here. I'm going to give another copy of the self-care book away later, so stay on to the end for that. I'm only giving one away because I've only got one left. I'm going to have to order some more. So that's coming right at the end, so stick around for that. Just as far as for Diane and Lynn, who might be in, guys, I'm sorry you won't have had your books yet. They are here. They're all ready to go. It's just that I haven't got any stamps. And at the moment, because I'm completely on proper lockdown, I've ordered stamps this time last week from the post office, but we're in that bizarre position of not having received them yet. It's all a bit kind of wheels within wheels. The post office are posting me postage stamps, but they're stuck in the post. There we are. That's an existential crisis waiting to happen, isn't it? Anyway, so they are here, Diane and Lynn. I will get them to you. They're all wrapped up with a little note inside and addressed, ready to go. But so they'll come out later. So if you're up for the book giveaway, stay on to the end. And if you're watching the replay of this, please subscribe on YouTube so that we can make sure we get these through to you. Okay, so the first part that we usually come to is the posts that are in the group this week. I'm keen to kind of maintain this because there's some really good stuff appearing in the group from the good people in the group, so I want to highlight some of those. Before I do, let's just see who's in. Hi Pam, good to see you. Hi Sean, Dusty, hello mate. Sarah, hi Sarah, I've got your question in today, I think. Yes, I have got your question in, so we come into that. Hello to everybody in East Riding Yacht. We had a great time up there. Really enjoyed that. Hi, Kev, and the NWG crowd. Good to see you, mate. Leanne, Vicky, hi, Mel. Youth worker from Plymouth. Yes, I remember. Deborah, hello. Sabrina, Cheryl, Rosie, Nicola, Jackie, Molly. Hi, Mark from Scotland. Sheila from Scotland. You two know each other. Andrea from Wales. Totally. Absolutely. Jonny from the Costa del Bridge end. It's looking a bit less Costa del than it has in previous weeks, but there we are. And Bev is on as well. Brilliant. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being on. Remember, if you've got questions and comments and things you want to make, put them in the comments, because I will periodically dip into those. And if I don't get to them today, they'll always feed into next week. All right. So we've got 3 or 4 things actually this week that I want to highlight. These are posts from within the group. So let me share my screen with you. So we've got a bit of a focus on self-care last week and this week. Not exclusive focus on it, but a bit of a focus because we've launched the TRM Academy, which myself and Dusty and Tricia Scusa run. Well, we are it, really. We've launched an online course on self-care for people who work with troubled kids. You can see the book behind me here. So I want to focus on that because I want people to kind of know what they're getting if they decide to buy into that. Martin, in following the theme, let me share my screen. Here we go. So this is from one of the posts on Martin Hatton. Thank you again, Mart. Posted this about itself, as you can see there, 6 tips to start your self-care journey. It's a recent post. I think it might even be Australian origin, and it's talking about Indigenous peoples, and obviously it's got resonance and relevance in light of the George Floyd and the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter campaign that's going on around that. But I just thought this was a really useful little post. You'll see from the feed that Martin's a prolific poster, but it's really good stuff. So I encourage you to dip into those. So the 6 tips: plan and organize, schedule self-care, leave, specific for self-care, not just a day off to do a gazillion other things at home. Set boundaries, eat right and sleep tight, move your body, relax your mind. So again, outline, zoomed out stuff. But actually, if you actually just look at yourself against each of those, hopefully it'll encourage you to think about what you can change. So thanks for that, Mart. Also, just to say, it feeds into self-care for parents and carers and resi workers and others as well, but it also feeds into the end of lockdown, which it seems is coming. It seems to be 3 steps forward and 2 back as we kind of find our way through the data and the R number and all the rest of it. But I wanted to highlight as well this back to school guidance, which you can find on the TRM website. I'll give you the link for that in a moment, but it's at trmacademy.com/stuff, and if you go onto there, you will find this there, and you can either just there's 3 pages. There's a kind of context setting page about constant change being difficult for children and anxiety. What's this guide about? Part 2 is then looks a bit more about what anxiety looks like, about the need to understand and kind of extricate the worries that we have as parents or carers, and the anxieties that kids have, and then specific things about returning to school. And she really usefully breaks that down into reception and year 1 kids and then year 6 kids, because certainly the initial thinking was for England that that's the order. It'd be the transition kids who were going into high school and those kids in year 1 who would be the first back. So she looks specifically at that about change and separation, and then unpacks some of the issues here. Fear of missing out, anxieties about illness, bullying. It's going to be different anyway. Parents' fears. And then in part 3, really, that's the strategies bit. So there's some really good strategies in here that you'll find really helpful. Talking about it, build up in going back to school, doing the preparation, and then about sleep and routine, and then actually getting to grips with what happens, worrying, sensory reminders, greeting kids when they get home, things to look forward to so that during the day there's a kind of cognitive connection with home as they look forward to what they're coming back to. And she makes specific mention of year 6 children, and then special consideration for year 6 girls in the onset of pubescence and so on around that. So just wanted to highlight that again. As I say, you can get on that trmacademy.com stuff page, and I think actually on if you go on to my blog, jonnymatthew.com, on the blog, jonnymatthew.com/blog, and you'll see there's a post there on helping kids back to school, and it's the same material, and it will link you straight through to the TRM Academy website where you can download it. So hopefully that'll be useful. Please share that, put it out there, share the posts on Facebook, send it out to people. This is free guidance, and we're really keen for it to get out to as many folk as possible. There was a really good, quite energizing, challenging post on the group this week from Catherine, who posted here, and she's saying, social workers tend to think if you know the reasons behind behaviours, they're easier to manage. That's not always true when you're living with challenging behaviour. What would be more helpful would be reasons plus practical suggestions. I don't know whether Catherine is a social worker, is a foster carer or a parent, I'm not sure, but clearly looking after children or a child with attachment problems. She said what would be more helpful would be reasons plus practical suggestions. If you tell a social worker that a child never shuts up, they always smile. Why do they do that? Attachment issues make for enthusiastic training, but in real life it drives you nuts. Absolutely. And a few of you have replied on that. I wanted to highlight this because I think one of the advantages of this group is a safe place for folk to air issues like that. I hope you don't mind me doing that here, Catherine. But I just want to highlight the fact that we, as those of us who are professionals who don't have kids living with us, but are often involved with the people who do have kids living with them, that might be resi workers, custody workers, secure children's home workers, particularly foster carers and parents and kinship carers, that it's really difficult for these guys. And I think those of us who are at a slightly professional and geographical distance from the kids need to work really hard to be properly empathic. And I think that professional empathy thing is hard to do. I put a response on here about professional empathy is difficult to do. It can sound patronising, or it can sound like you're kind of nodding and smiling, but not really giving me something I can do that practically helps me. And I know I will have done that time and time again over the years. Jojo actually responded to this really usefully about Schlossberg's transition theory, which is really helpful. It's practical. So there's 4 S's: situation, self, support, strategies. It breaks it down. So I've put a link to an article on that in the description below the video, so you'll be able to see that. It's already on the Troubled Kids group. You can find that there. The other thing about this actually was Gareth Thomas, who's a member of the group, garethkthomas.com. So check that out. Gareth is a foster carer. and he's let me just click through because it'd be worth just giving this a bit of exposure, because I'm sure some of you guys will find this useful. You don't mind me doing this, Gareth, but this is Gareth. So let's have a quick look at his about page. Here he is. He's single foster carer to 3 incredible kids. He runs Clarified, a digital strategy business. Bit obsessed with behaviour, understanding why we do what we do, how we can use it to our advantage to grow business and stuff. But I know Gareth has linked in the page, in the post on the page to this. There's a link there, so get on there. You might find something useful, particularly got a digital business. But Gareth's very interested in that stuff as well, and he makes a comment that he's particularly interested in things that are practical and specific and can help. Amen to that. I will say that I think theory is where we get those things, and I think there's always a difficulty in this debate, how much it's practical, how much it's theoretical. And to me, they're like 2 tracks on a railway line. If you lose one, you've lost it all. We need to hold them in balance. It is theory, good theory, particularly empirical evidence-based theory, that generates good strategies. And the fine-tuned your theory, the more fine-tuned the strategies are, and the better the outcomes will be. So, but let's keep that debate going, because it's really good. Last one on this is Jojo again shared about she shared in the group sorry, wrong screen. She shared in the group about the erosion of statutory duties for local authorities during lockdown. The government have relaxed things a lot, and it's a really interesting post that links to this article in Children and Young People Now. It's an easy to read short article, and it's talking about how the statutory duties have changed, have been relaxed. I guess will be the government's view. In the light of lockdown, we have to tweak things so that we're not asking people to make visits and so on that will be dangerous because of distancing and viral exposure and things like that, but also keep things properly monitored. And there's a useful list of the things that have changed there. About 6 monthly reviews of children in care, no longer mandatory. Adoptions need to proceed swiftly. Notification duties have been relaxed for criminal offences in fostering. Placement plans removed for kinship care. There's a number of concerning things there. As always, it's trying to balance that macro strategic level stuff and the law and legislation and guidance and stat guidance and what we do on the ground. But I think, as Jojo rightly points out, we really, really need to keep a very careful eye on that. So there we go. Thanks, guys, for chipping in. Please stay involved in the group, and if you see good stuff, post it on there. As I said before, once lockdown is over, and we're not sure whether we'll continue to stream. I'd certainly like to, but whether I will continue to stream or not will really depend on whether it's serving people and helping you. I mean, at the moment there's 39 people on. Whether that will be the case when we're all back in, whatever the new normal will be, I don't know. But I'm really keen for the group to stay as a resource anyway, which it was before. And really, you guys are the resource. So please stick around for that anyway, and keep putting your comments and your resources and things on there. Okay, questions. So again, we've got a couple of quick ground rules for this. We don't use kids' names. We keep identifiable information out of it to try and protect confidentiality. And we're all signed up to the fact that this is just me, small Yorkshire person, offering my opinions and help and drawing on other people's stuff to nick and plagiarise and help along the way. But it's just my opinion. If you need professional input, really important you persevere to try and get that, and maybe we can refer you through, and people in the group can refer you through to other people. But this is not a replacement for professional input. So Sarah, who I believe is on, hi Sarah, if you're still on. Hi East Riding guys, if you're still on. Sarah asked a question, and this is about the trauma recovery model, which is this triangle model you can see on the wall behind me. It says, hi Johnny, just wondering whether there's any information, or you could maybe mention on Wednesday, about the TRM model with adults. I can see similar signs with some of the adults I work with, and just wondered whether and how I should be working with them. Is it the same regardless of age? Example being an adult deflecting blame to everyone else. I can see and understand why that's happening due to historical events. But how do I work with the client in order for us to move forward? Any info, much appreciated. Loving the blogs and the amazing sport for us all. You're very welcome. I guess the short answer for this, and I've answered this in the group, but I think it's worth highlighting here, is that absolutely the trauma recovery model is a model to use for adults as well. We make no distinction in putting it out there who the model's for, except that we work with teenagers and increasingly with younger children to help professionals use the model and apply the model, and therefore it can appear that it's just a child model, but it absolutely isn't. It is a people model, and it recognizes really that behavior is a feature of development and of experience so far, not for traumatized people who've suffered adversity and things. It's not, behavior is not a feature so much of chronological age, because if your behavior is normal for the chronological age that you're at, then the chances are, generally speaking, it won't be problematic, and so it won't come to the attention of people who might be able to help with behaviors. So if I buzz you onto the screen again, and you can see the model here. So just for those of you who may be new to this or watching on YouTube, the model is really simple. It's a layered model. You can see from the arrow on the right hand side there that it's a bottom-up model. So earlier, younger, less developed, less mature is at the bottom, and it moves up as the journey of development progresses and unfolds. And essentially, the things here that are in the triangle, these things in the box here that are in the coloured layers, those are example presentations of behaviour that people may display, which we can use as an indicator of where they may be developmentally and in their experience. So that's important, and that really is your kind of first step, is to think, how does this person function? What do they look like when they're being observed? What does their behaviour present like? And obviously people's behaviour differs a lot, but you take a kind of aggregate or look at the problem behaviours and say, where are they at? Because we may intervene with problem behaviours very differently to behaviours that may be more mature. And you find this with adults quite a lot, and with older kids, that they can present some of the time, maybe even a lot of the time, as quite balanced and fairly kind of age appropriate, if you like. And then you've got this subset of behaviours that are really problematic. And it's important to look at those a little bit in isolation to capture them. And then you look at them in aggregate with the other behaviours that are more normal and pro-social and sit under the radar because they're okay and they fit socially in that kind of interpersonal world in a normal kind of way. And you aggregate them because it's important to understand that normal behaviours can give you clues to the strengths that a person has, and they can be just as important in intervention planning as can the clues we get from developmentally abnormal, early, immature, problematic behaviour. And it's in the putting those two together. So in the middle is the problematic stuff. On the right then, in here, is the stuff against each layer, which gives us a clue again, and these are only examples, but they give us a clue in each layer as to the developmental need, an underlying psychological need that might be driving that problem behaviour. So the behaviour, the presentation is in the triangle. If we identify roughly where somebody's at, and they may be across a couple of layers, adjacent layers, then you just look to the right and you say, okay, these are the kinds of needs that might be apparent. And when you know the person and you've done your assessment and you've tried to familiarise yourself with them, you'll be able to see how their particular needs fit the general needs that are outlined in the model. And then you move across to the left side of the triangle, and that gives you the focus of the intervention. Again, these are examples, these are indicative ideas of the sorts of interventions, strategies and approaches that might meet the needs, which will then dial down and address the behaviour. And I think we mentioned it last week. The key question around behaviour is, what does it achieve for the person? Is it about expression? Is it about finding something to do when they don't know what to do, so there's a reaction? Are they gaining some sort of response from the people around them that meets the need, but the way of going about getting that response is in itself problematic because they're offending or shouting and swearing or self-harming or whatever it might be? So if we know the presentation, we move across to the right to look at the underlying need, and across to the left to look at the sorts of interventions that we might bring to bear, and then we do the detailed work of analysis to think about how that can really specifically apply. So I think that's really helpful. Thank you, Sarah. I know you know this, and we've had conversation about that, and you've done the training, so you understand all that. But I thank you for the question, because I think it's really useful for other people. So I hope that's useful to you guys. Let's just have a quick peep and see who is on. Hi, Amanda. Welcome. Thanks for the wave. Lots of good training on here. Absolutely. You guys are posting some really good stuff. Lynn is just saying she's printed a free A4 copy yesterday onto magnetic paper to keep on the fridge. Great job. Well done, Lynn. That's a cracking idea. Dusty, there's a product there. We need to make that product. Magnetic paper. That's brilliant. I'm definitely going to order some of that as soon as we get off here. Just to say that as Lynn has done, you can, if you go to trmacademy.com/stuff, there's a whole kind of bag of tricks on there to do with the TRM. There's the paper that we wrote, there's recommended reading, you can download the paper, and you can download the triangle diagram, this thing behind me in A4. Obviously, if you've got access to an Uber photocopier, you can maybe blow it up to that. That's flip chart size, or you can buy one of them if you want, but as I say, you can probably photocopy it. So there we go. Zog is on. Hi. What need is currently unmet? Lynn is saying, looking for the gaps. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what need does this problem behaviour, what might sit behind it, and how can I meet that? That's the unmet need. They're absolutely dead right. Hi, Fiona. Fiona John, youth worker from Youth Justice Team, Pembrokeshire. Hi, Fiona. My lovely wife Karen used to be in the Youth Justice Team in Pembrokeshire years ago. Right, there we go. So that's helpful. Thank you, Sarah, for the question. That's brilliant. Right, what I'm going to do now is shift our focus slightly back onto self-care again, and I've got 8 quick tips for you. So hopefully that's helpful, because this is not just about you guys buying the course, although I hope you will, because it's very like this. And it's very practical. In fact, it's really practical. In fact, I'm not sure there's anything but practicality in it. Such is my view on life. So here we go. So 8 quick self-care tips. So I'm hoping this will help you guys. Number 1, highlight achievements. Let's resist this perennial obsession in social care with cynicism and with it's really hard. Yes, it is, absolutely. But if we remind ourselves that the work we do really makes a difference, people's lives get changed through what we do. Carers' lives, parents' lives, above all, kids' lives. So remind yourself about that, and I think that can help to keep us a little bit more positive and give us that kind of worldview, and that's healthy, because it can grind you down. So highlight achievements. Number 2, maintain healthy boundaries. Now, I know that leaving work at work is really hard. I mean, it's really hard now because we're not going to work. It's always hard if you're a foster carer or a kinship carer or a parent, because the kids live with you, and that necessarily means being off duty is an opportunity that's few and far between. Totally get that. There are transition points, though. use some time when the kids go to bed. Don't do the washing up, clear the house, hoover the carpet, pack lunch for tomorrow. Sit down, have half an hour with a coffee on your own. Sit down and watch rubbish on telly. Sit down and watch something that cheers you up. I don't know. Whenever possible, I think also things like if you're going to work, use the journey home, whether you're walking home, getting a train, driving, whatever it might be. Use the journey home as a brain dump. Think about things, make a mental list, scribble it down before you go in. When you get home, leave it there. Use that journey home as a longer version of going through your front door, where you begin to transition. So rather than just ruminate about work, start to try and project forward, so that when you do close the door, you can shut that out. So maintain healthy boundaries. Number 3, read your body. I've been doing this lately, actually. Dusty and I were talking earlier in the day, and Trish yesterday when we had our daily morning call about. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling it at the moment. We've been 10, 12 weeks in lockdown. It's hard going. We've been working hell for leather to get this course up and running. And if you go to trmacademy.com/selfcare, you can find that on there. Here we go. There you go. Or johnnymatthew.com self-care. Sorry, I thought that was a TRM one. They both work. We've been working hard to get that done. I'm ground down. I know I'm ground down. I had 2 or 3 nights on the trot where I didn't sleep. Now, that's one of my key indicators if I don't sleep. Because I sleep like a stone. I don't dream. I'm gone. I think it's because I'm so frantic in the day. But if I stop sleeping, it sets my radar going that I might need to change something. So I work hard at that. I've also found myself distracted and irritable, working even longer. When I stop going down and watch telly at night and I stay here and I'm still at it, or Karen goes to bed and I want to come back, I feel the urge to come back and work again, or I can't sit still when I'm watching the telly. These are my indicators. These are how I read myself to know. So this week I'm going to do this, load it to YouTube, and I'm going to back off today. I packed in at 3 o'clock yesterday. I packed in about 1:30, 2 o'clock on Monday. I'm going to do that all week. And I'm getting to bed early. Karen and I have instituted get to bed early week in the Matthew household. So that's what I'm doing. So read your body. Know yourself, because my indicators won't be your indicators. Really important. Number 4, cultivate quiet whenever you can. Again, it can be easier said than done. Kids, pets, family, chores, bills, social commitments. Not so much now. They all demand attention. But try and carve out that time. Stillness, mindfulness. We talked about this a bit last week, I believe. Peaceful. You can achieve it. Just got to be deliberate. So try and cultivate some quiet. Number 5. I've called it DIY bath spa. Because this is what I used to do before I had a hot tub. I've got a hot tub now. Best money I've ever spent. It's the only place I can totally unplug, because I can't do anything. I can't have a phone in my hand. I can't be potching about doing stuff. You just have to sit and be, and I find it very easy to be mindful. And I go in there on my own nearly every morning around about 7:30, and just I have 15-20 minutes. Now you can do that. Do it in the bath. Shut the door. Pull the phone out. Do it when the kids are in school. Do it when they've gone to bed. Find a time to cultivate quiet. And if you can do that, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you can do it every day, it's really good. So cultivate quiet. Bath spa can be a real way of doing that. Do something that makes you feel relaxed. So it might be go for a walk. I know Dusty runs a lot. It might be if running for you is your headspace time and you can relax doing that. I know some people can. Do that. Number 6, get outside more. A little bit more outsideness can really clear the head. Take a walk around the block, walk to the shop, take the dog out, buy a dog. Being outdoors is brilliant. It clears the head. You get all that vitamin D for sun shining, or even if it's not from the daylight, get out. And that leads to number 7, this idea of raising your heart rate. Because don't do it by worrying about work, obviously, but raising your heart rate, a little bit of exercises. Again, it can be low-key, a walk, a run, swim, whatever it might be, really important. This is one of my shortcomings. I'm not good at this. I burn it off and stay thin because I'm hyperactive, but other people need to work harder at it. Karen every day will say to me, should we go for a walk? And I have that. Oh. And I always say yes. Partly because I don't want to be grumpy, but also I always feel much better when I come back from it. So I know she's right. So again, some people will have to work harder at that. But try and do that. And then number 8, laugh. This just really helps. Laugh. And like all of these things, being deliberate is important. You have to be good. It's good for the soul, but if it's good for the soul, you may have to work hard to do it. Walking is good for the soul, but I know I very rarely ever want to do it, but it's good for me, so I do it. So laugh, be deliberate doing that. You know, I like Peter Kay, Michael McIntyre, Alan Partridge, Billy Connolly. Absolutely love them. Any one of them, just thinking about them makes me laugh. It's a good thing. So just get over on YouTube and put in Peter Kay clips or whatever. I said a couple of weeks ago, I've recently read Billy Connolly's autobiography. Is it Wee Tales and Tall Stories or something like that? And it's brilliant because when you're reading it, I can hear him talking, and it makes me laugh all the more because I've heard him so much, as we all have. So again, be deliberate. So there we go. 8 quick self-care tips. Highlight achievements, maintain healthy boundaries, read your body, cultivate quiet, DIY bath spa, get outside more, raise your heart rate, and laugh. Now there is lots more in the course itself. And what we do in there is take you through to build your own self-care plan. I'll show you a bit about that in a minute. So I want to come to the chat because I know you guys are on here saying stuff. The body keeps the score. Yes. In fact, this book here, the middle one of those orange ones up there, His Body Keeps the Score. It's one of my absolutely go-to books. I love it. It's a brilliant. The body does keep the score. Our body keeps the score. And it's important that sometimes we give it a bit of time off. Fiona's saying it's hard to shut off from work when you're working from home. Maybe you can only have contact with young people later on in the evening. Because they're not in a good place. I need to keep texting until I know they're okay. This could be late. No, absolutely, Fiona. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really hard, actually, when you know it's particularly hard for them at the moment. That's got to be tricky. You know, I think it's always, isn't it, between these extremes. And I can tell from what you're saying, Fiona, and because you're on here, and that you'll be the kind of person who's extremely committed. The difficulty with that is that's a real driver for us, and it's hard to know when to back off the throttle, because at the other end of the extreme is we can only do what we can do, and my health is too big a price to pay to do this amount. So at what point does the boundary come between doing as much as passion and commitment will allow without compromising your health and well-being? I mean, that is really difficult. So I feel your frustration. And I think if you're working in that kind of youth worky, outreachy, texty kind of way, it's really, really tricky. So yeah, absolutely. But again, I think if we're doing things like reading our body, looking for the signs and stuff, that's important. You probably did work with Karen, Fiona. You might have done. No, you won't have done. She left there in 2002, so 18 years ago. So you probably just missed it. Michelle, watching this outside, listening to the birds. You might get more sense from the birds, Adele. So be careful. Martin, all behaviour is communication or an unmet need. Yep. And Lynn is agreeing with that. Absolutely. So there we go. Bless you. Thanks for your comments. That's absolutely right. I'm very well aware. I'm just speaking my stuff into the air, and you guys have got a lot of wisdom on that as well. So just take a quick stock at this point. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe there. You can find us on the Trouble Kids group in Facebook. You will have to ask to join. If you don't answer the questions, you won't get in. So please answer the questions. It's just asking you to sign up to the rules of the group, which are very basic, courtesy stuff, and what your interest in Trouble Kids is as well. So that's there for you. Molly saying, I've had to work doubly hard to find a balance working from home. knowing when to say that's it, that's enough, but dragging myself away from the laptop even is hard. Oh, absolutely. Oh my word, yeah, absolutely. And I think when work is at home, you also don't have the geographical boundaries of place and journey in between. So it can be hard to stay away. And I know lots of people don't have a room where it can just be work. I'm really fortunate here in Box Room Studios, even though I can touch the window that side and touch the door that side, at least I can go out and shut the door, and that makes it easier. And I know a lot of people don't have that. So I'm privileged in that degree. So Kerry just saying, want to plug courses from Dr. Knightsmith for parents and carers, free online courses before 14th of June. Great. Thanks for the plug, Kerry. Maybe find a good link, Kerry, and drop it into the Trouble Kids group, because I'm sure that'll be useful. Pookie Knightsmith, Dr. Pookie Knightsmith stuff. Very, very good stuff. So again, I recommend that. Tim just saying, Jonny, National Academy of Education Leadership carrying out a survey of well-being for leaders in education. I discussed with them about a focus group for youth work too. Good that the sector's starting to receive some acknowledgement. Absolutely. Yes, so Doctor, we were talking about Kerry read Dr. Pookie Knightsmith stuff on school transitions. I was reading some of her stuff this week on that. It's very good. So go on there and have a look. And if you post a link, Kerry, I'm sure people will take that up. So there we go. That's amazing. Now, what I want to do is just take you through quickly another of the sections on the self-care course, which you can get here. There's loads of information on this page about it. In fact, if you bear with me one moment, I will take you to that page to see it, because I think it'll be handy just to give you a sense. So here it is. I'm just going to share the screen with you. So if you put johnnymatthew.com/self-care, this is where you will come to. And these are, each of these is just a little video. They're only 2 or 3 minutes long, about the opportunity that good self-care offers, the transformation that can happen, but you need to work at it, and then a little bit about the experience and what that's like. It's very personal to me, this, guys. I'm not pretending to be the font of all wisdom here. I'm just saying I hit the wall and burned out badly on this. I mean, I was off work, ill, on antidepressants, just paralyzed for quite a while, and I learned some serious life lessons from it. And obviously, as I've done more and more clinical work since then, and read more and gone more into training and development and the impact of trauma and stuff, I've been able to look retrospectively back at that and learn some key lessons. So I'm just trying to share those on here, really. It tells you a bit about the course, 12 videos, course workbook, 33 pages of that. You can either download that, look at it online, follow it as you study. It's up to you. And you get access to our training room, which has got a chat room and a forum in it. You can get supplementary reading down there. So that's that. Also, you can get a certificate if you work through the workbook. You get a certificate which will recognise you for 8 hours of CPD. So there's 12 videos. The average length is, I think, 15 or 16 minutes now. We had to redo one of them because there was a problem with the link, but we've sorted that now. So just to say, that course is 29 quid now. In total, it's going to be 49 quid plus VAT from Monday night next week. We've had a few people ask. We've sold some of these en masse into agencies. Fabric bought 50 of these. We've had a college buy a bunch. A couple of local authorities buy in a load. There is an extra discount if people buy 9 or more. You get the 10th one free, basically. But I just wanted to say this. A number of people have said to us, we want to buy some, but we're not going to be able to do it before the end of the deadline. Well, unfortunately, because everybody else is buying within the deadline, we don't really feel we can be fair to everybody by extending that in special case scenarios. So we will give a group discount if people buy after the deadline, but it will not be the same discount as you get if you buy it before, and the same for individual. We want to be fair to the people who said, if this runs out, I'm going to buy it now. So we want to maintain integrity around that. So let me just click through. So if you go in and you You buy the course, and you're able to get into it. It will take you to this page here. I've just realised I might not have been sharing my screen before with you. Anyway, there we are. Doesn't matter. It will bring you to this page here. Now, if you look on here under My Courses, so this is, as you see, I've signed in the top right hand corner. I've signed on as Betty Rubble here, and it will give you out. You look at My Courses, looking after number 1, or here if you've accessed it before. The course overview is here. It tells you how much you've completed, and across here it'll tell you there's a navigation bar here to the various resources and things that you can see. TRM resources, TRM shop, helping children go back to school. So you can navigate to any of the TRM resources from there. But if you click through onto the course, it brings you through to this home page here. I'm just going to get rid of me on here so you can see this more clearly. Here we go. And you can scroll down, access to the workbook, quality of life survey. If you want to do a little bit of a survey on yourself there, you could do that then. You could do the course and then do it after if you want to do before and after, see how you're doing. So I want to come through to solutions here. This is partly in response to Catherine's post earlier, really, but also because it's about getting answers, really, as to how we do this better. So if you click through to solutions, I think there are four videos here. Yeah, 4 videos. So the first one takes you through. You can either watch these on here or you can blow them up and see them full screen, or click through to YouTube, whatever you want. So we look at what I did. So there I'm kind of taking you through my own lessons, because some of those may be helpful to you guys, because they illustrate the principles that we're trying to get on across in the training. Then there's a video called Rocking the In-Betweens. And I think in the book, in the little book, I call it the pit stop possibilities. It's these little times that you can seize for your own welfare and benefit, that may not be long prescribed times of, being on leave or having downtime or long weekends or any of that stuff. That's more tricky to get. But you can rock the in-betweens. And if you're focused on self-care, you'll learn to do that habitually. So we talk quite a bit about that. The next bit is called The Great Escape. That is about these longer periods of time off. I'm not going to tell you about that anymore now, but The Great Escape is a really nuclear, useful, brilliant option that, if you plan right, can revolutionize your self-care. So I don't want to say any more about that because you're going to have to pay the money to get that. But it is absolutely brilliant. And that was a key lesson I learned from my mum and dad, actually. And then lastly, this is remembering your why and the fact that you are the intervention. There's 2 bits to this. The first one really is about keeping your initial motivation fresh in your mind. Nobody chooses to work with troubled kids for the money, or because it's easy, or because it's fun. There can be joy in it, of course. There can be real delight and satisfaction in it when we see progress. But it's very hard too. So remembering why we do it initially is really important. We can objectify that by choosing a representative object, and we talk about how to do that. And then you are the intervention. This last bit is I talk through a little bit about why, again, just to reiterate at the end, why self-care is important, and there is access to the workbook as always there. So again, I just wanted to take you through that because we worked hard on it. I think it's a really good resource, and I want you to know what you're getting if you decide to shoot for it. So please go for that. And have a look. As I say, if you go to this page, you don't have to buy. You can just have a look, and there's some more videos you can watch that may help you with that. But the reason we chose to do self-care, it's partly about being in lockdown. It's partly been about this is a particularly trying time for carers and parents who are looking after troubled kids. That's all a major part of it. The other major part of it is that really it doesn't matter where you sit professionally, really, even what sector you're in, but certainly in our sector, in working with families that struggle and children and young people and young adults who struggle, we put ourselves in the frame to suffer these major issues of compassion fatigue and vicarious traumatization, both of which we define and unpack in detail on the course, because we crunch it down into things you can watch out for in yourself. Because we really put ourselves in the frame to suffer these things, and it's important, because if we as a sector are to become truly child-centered and give kids the best version of ourselves, which in turn gives them the best access to a relationship that can help them to change, then we need to be totally on our game. And I know if I'm winging it, or I'm shattered, or I've come off the back of something else and there hasn't been enough of a transition, I know that I don't give good value to other people, and I know that they don't get the maximum chance to benefit from our interaction and any wisdom and help I can bring, even if that's just, as we talked about before, really active listening. So again, that's just to reiterate why we do what we do. So there we go. So I am going to just urge any YouTube people to subscribe again, and then I'm going to whiz over on to the comments, have a quick look. School transitions, Kerry's saying, yeah, absolutely. Key moment right now. Looking after yourself now is key, because we're going to have to really focus on kids as they step into this challenge of transitioning back into school. Kelly's saying, I got it. Good. I don't know if that's you got the free school resources or you got the point we were making, but either way, I'm glad you got something, Kerry. Brilliant resources, Johnny. Thank you. No problem at all, Kerry. Bless you. Thank you for that. Lovely. That's great. Now then, I'm going to do the free book giveaway in a minute or two, so be ready for that. This is, what's Jackie? Sorry, I've just noticed a comment pop up. Jackie saying, just remember, you can't do everything all of the time. It's absolutely fine to ask for help and take a break. That's not a failure. That's others helping so we can help others. Absolutely. That's helping us so we can help others. Absolutely. Right. I totally and passionately believe. When I was sat at home in pain, taking antidepressants, wondering if I'd ever go back to work again, the principal overriding feeling I got was, am I ever going to get over this? Is this the end of it? I've dropped the ball here. Something's gone badly wrong. And it was a real existential moment. Am I going to have to find something else to do? And particularly when the GP said to me, this is your work, Johnny. We can't treat this. Only you can treat this. And I thought, but I love doing this. What am I going to do if I don't do this? I can tell you it was sobering, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. Doing more than I've ever done, but pacing it better. And I really, really think that we can make a massive difference to the lives of the troubled kids in this country if we all are maximally on our game. Some of you guys should be writing blogs. Some of you guys should be running your own Facebook groups. Some of you guys need to be out there training other people. Some of you guys need to be mentoring other people. But it's hard to think, how can I find space to learn how to do that and then do it? Well, one of the ways is to carve out time for yourself by backing off and being able to find some margin. And you can only do that through looking after yourself. All right, here we go. Now then, before we do the book giveaway, just to say two things I really want to bring to mind. One is the day after tomorrow, Friday at noon, I'm going to go live on here and do an Ask Me Anything session. No prep. Jump in, questions off the comments. The purpose for that is because the course, access to the course is closing Monday, and I really want to just be available to answer any questions people have got, particularly about the course. But if you've got questions about other things, I will take questions about that. But if you've got questions about the self-care course, jump on. It's an Ask Me Anything session this Friday at 12 noon on here. If you're listening again on Facebook, get into Trouble Kids group if you want to see that live. If the video's any good, I will put it on YouTube later. I'm saying any good because it won't be scripted at all. It'll just be, I'll come on, say hello to people in the comments, get into a chat, ask questions, answer as many as I can for 1 hour max, and then I'll be off. So that's Ask Me Anything Friday, this Friday, day after tomorrow, 12th of June at noon. The other thing is, really important this, that next week is Youth Work Week. National Youth Work Week. So I want to have a bit of a focus on that in the stream. Not entirely, we'll do what we do, but I want to focus on youth work. I'm very passionate about youth work. I wrote a blog a couple of years ago called Why We Still Need Professional Youth Work. You can find that at johnnymatthew.com/blog. Just search up youth work. Tim is saying, have to dash to another meeting, but thanks again. Quick reminder, Youth Work Week, 23rd to 30th. Well, we're going live next week, mate. So if I change that, I'll let everybody know. But I'm planning to do it next week. I came into this through youth work. Dusty, who I partner with in the TRMA, came into it through youth work. I know, just like the stuff Sarah is saying about texting kids late at night, that kind of outreach, integrated youth work service. A lot of youth offending teams are going that way. A lot of foster carers and parents will be aware of how important youth work is. A couple of people saying it's week after next. Okay, week after next. All right. So I will focus on youth work the week after next. I'm just looking on my calendar, so it was gonna be the 17th, so it must be the 24th. So Wednesday the 24th we will go live looking to focus on youth. Thanks Tim, thanks Dusty. Better that we do it during the week itself rather than the week before. Fab. So 24th of June, Youth Work Week. I'm going to be interviewing Dusty Kennedy on that day. Dusty's not only a mate and a colleague in TRMA. Dusty also came into this through youth work. He works with Trish and I now on the trauma recovery model stuff, and he's intrinsic to that. We travel around together and overseas training on this stuff. He really knows his stuff about this, both from personal experience and from professional experience as well. So I'll be interviewing Dusty. Key to the Youth Work Week bit on the 24th is that Dusty sits as a member of the Wales Interim Youth Work Board, which is a national body, Welsh government body, tasked to look at Welsh national strategy for youth work. So he knows all about that. So I'm going to be on talking to him on the 24th. So next week we'll go with whatever you guys bring up in the comments. So ask me anything Friday 12th of June at noon about self-care or anything else you want to talk about, and then youth work on the 24th. So just to say also, this thing finds its energy and focus through what you guys are asking really and what you're posting in the group. I really want to keep that as a focus, so please get on there. We have no theme for next week. The self-care course will be closed in terms of the offer. It'll be open, but it'll be full price. So we won't be focusing on that unless you guys want to talk about self-care. So get in the comments, raise your questions. You got questions about kids returning to school, about anything, attachment, trauma, brain development, intervention, assessment, treatment work, anything at all, chuck it on and we'll see where it takes us. So it's all about you guys. I hope you found this really helpful. I've certainly enjoyed it as always. If you need to contact me, you can get me here. You can email me. Now I'm going to give you 10 seconds or so. I'm going to play our fanfare. Then I'm doing the book giveaway. If you would like the book, write the word me in the comments now, and I will play the fanfare. And then once I've finished playing the fanfare, I'll scroll quickly through the comments and I will land on somebody who's written me in their comment, and I will post you the book. It's this little book behind me here. It's my last one. I haven't got any more. So the fewer of you that are in, the more chance you got. So if you want in, do it now. And here's the fanfare. Hey! Right, there we are. Brief round of applause. Brief round of applause. Right, I'm in. Click. Who's that? Sheila Miller. Sheila Miller. Hi, Sheila. You're in. Got yourself a book. Not this one. This is my scribbled on. It's got tags in it and all sorts, because I did actually use this when we were putting the course together, and I use it in training and stuff. So Sheila, if you... Oh, hang on. You can't see me, can you? There we go. Sheila, if you... Come on, Sheila Miller won that. Sorry, I realised I had the wrong screen up. If you let me on the ticker here, you will see my... Here it is, my email, mail@johnnymatthew.com. Please email me, Sheila, with your postal address, and I'll add you to my pile of Lynn and Diane to get that book, hopefully later this week, as soon as the post office posts me the postage stamp that the post office seem unable to deliver in a timely fashion. So there we go. I'm done. Thanks for being on. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. All the content and the links for this are in the description below. If you're watching in Trouble Kids group, they're already on the page, so you can go through for that. I will catch you next week. Stay well. Look after yourself. You are your most important client. Thank you for being on. It's always great. I feel like I've been with a bunch of mates when I'm on here. It's fab. Bless you. Have a good week. Catch you next time. Cheers.